from my gun. The elk startled and ran, and I spun around, but Arden was nowhere to be seen. The shot still echoed through the trees, but he seemed to have vanished. I began to search frantically for him. Had he been lured away by an elk of his own? Had he been accidentally shot by some other hunters? I called out his name, but there was no reply. Eventually, after several minutes of desperate searching, I came to a small clearing. There, slumped against one of the trees, was Arden. He was dead. The tree behind him was painted in a spray of crimson, and there was a messy hole in the center of his throat, as though it had been torn out entirely. His rifle lay next to him on the ground, also coated in blood. It seems silly to say now, but my first thought was to check his pulse. So I put my gun down to do so. Obviously he didn't have one, but I couldn't understand what was happening. I'd been with him not 3 minutes before, and he had been alive and unharmed. It didn't make sense. Then I heard that whistling. That infernal whistling from the tree line. I turned, and there was the hiker. His right hand was coated in Arden's blood, and he grinned at me. Then he began to sprint. His speed was incredible, and he loped from side to side with a sort of zigzag motion. I ran. I know I should have picked up my gun, but you can't understand just how frightening it is to have something like that, a true predator, running at you, full pelt, your death charging towards you like a freight train. You can't understand what it is to be prey. So I ran. I turned tail, leaving my pack and my gun behind, and sprinted into the woods. I didn't look back. I couldn't. It took all my concentration to keep my footing, to not trip. I could hear him occasionally behind me as he charged through a bush or scratched against a tree. I think he did it deliberately, to let me know he was still there. There's no way I could have won that foot race, but I think he must have been toying with me. After a while I could no longer hear him directly behind me, so I slowed to catch my breath. I'm in good shape, as I say, but I'm not a young man. I was dizzy with the exhaustion. I sat there, so intent on listening out for any sign of danger of this man, that I barely even noticed night fall. There were no clouds that night, and I was glad, since I had left my torch along with my pack. If I was to run at all during the night, I would need the moonlight to see by. Of course, any experienced hiker will tell you never to travel the woods at night, and certainly not to run through them. But I hardly had any choice if it came to it. And of course it did. The night was barely half an hour old when I heard it again. That whistling. Then the words floating through the trees, but with a low bass tone to them. A-hunting we shall go, a-hunting we shall go. And once again I ran. By all rights I should have broken my neck, charging off into the darkness like that. I should have tripped on a root or put my foot in a rabbit hole. I should have at least twisted my ankle. Somehow this didn't happen, though. I ran and ran and, well, I just kept running. It didn't seem to do me any good, of course. I was still far slower in the dark than I had been during the day, and it was obvious my pursuer could easily outpace me if he wanted to. So many times I'd heard that song coming from in front of me and turned sharply to avoid it, until I was utterly lost. Finally, I broke through the tree line. At first, I thought I'd found another clearing, but looking down, I saw I was next to Arden's mutilated body. The wretched thing had just sent me in a circle. For fun. For the chase. I was tired, scared, covered in scratches and bruises over my entire body, and for nothing. I was still going to die. I turned to face my fate, and for the first time that night got a good look at my hunter. The moonlight shone on him in full, and what I saw was not human. It's hard to describe exactly, but everything about him was sharper. His fingers, his teeth, his face, his eyes, his skin. As I looked at him, the strangest thing popped into my head. Have you ever read The Duchess of Malfi? I had to study it for my O-levels many years ago. Dreadful play, as I remember, the worst sort of old revenge tragedy, all incest and murder and madness. There's a line that stays with me. A doctor diagnosing the Duchess's brother with lycanthropy. As I recall, it goes, "Once met the Duke about midnight in a lane behind St. Mark's Church with the leg of a man upon his shoulder. Said he was a wolf. Only difference was, a wolf's skin is hairy on the outside, his on the inside." Looking at this thing that wanted to kill me, it's the only description that feels right. He didn't charge this time, but slowly stalked towards me. I was acutely aware of the loaded guns by my feet, but I'd seen how fast it could move, and I didn't rate my chances. It got close enough that I could smell the fetid breath, close enough that I could see the most disturbing thing illuminated by the moonlight, the slick drool on its lips as it salivated in anticipation of a kill. Then it attacked me. I am, in some ways, very proud of how I acted during that encounter. You see, as long as the thing didn't think I was any sort of threat, I hoped it might get sloppy and clearly telegraph its strike. I was right. It drew back its arm and swung a clumsy, triumphant blow. I forget, did I mention my military background? Well, I used to be an officer in the Air Force. Now, it's been a long time since the Gulf War, and I didn't do much in the way of hand-to-hand fighting even then, but the training is something that stays with you. It certainly served me well for this one desperate move. As I caught his arm and pitched his motion around, his claws dug into my shoulder but missed my neck, and he fell to the floor, tripped by his own momentum. He began to get to his feet almost immediately, but it brought me the precious seconds to grab my rifle and press it to his chest. I didn't hesitate. The shot ripped through him, and he jerked in pain. Not wanting to take any chances, I fired again and again and again until my rifle was empty. Then I picked up Arden's rifle and emptied that one into him as well. Even after all of that, he still wasn't dead. He had 3 bullets in his heart, 2 in his head, and many more through the rest of him. But still he writhed there, making weak noises. I didn't know how long this would slow him down for, but I hoped it would give me enough time to escape properly. I looked back as I left the clearing to see him slowly and painfully pushing his claws into his chest, digging for the bullets. It was luck that saved me in the end. Some park rangers were driving past our trail on a road about 2 miles distant. They were coming to investigate the gunshots, and I stumbled onto the road through sheer good fortune. I never saw that thing again, or Arden, unfortunately, though they managed to find and recover his body about a week later. I don't think I'll try hunting again. I know the thrill of power that comes with the ability to end the life of something weaker than you, but I can't forget what it's like to be the hunted.